Hi, welcome back to Frankly Wine in the Time of Corona. Tonight it's Thursday, April 16th, so we're back to our newest segment called Drinking in the Now. So right now, if you actually let yourself outside of your apartment or house, because maybe we don't all live in New York, you will notice that the trees are in bloom, there's daffodils everywhere, the cherry blossoms have been totally on fire, and if you're also lucky enough to get to shop either with a local farmer's market, be part of a CSA, or have a solid grocery store that still is very stocked on produce, you'll probably notice that there's been all the spring goodies out there. So we've been seeing a lot of asparagus especially, morel mushrooms if you're lucky. Hopefully you've seen some artichokes, some chives, parsnips are in season, and ramps. Ramps are such a great forage local thing too. Basically, we have kind of hit that stride in the spring where eating veggies is amazing. It's the freshest flavors we've seen probably in months, and it actually made me really sad to prepare for this because it made me realize that a lot of times I realize that the produce has turned over because restaurants that I dine in, I start seeing things like spring pea salads, and again, you start seeing asparagus everywhere on menus, and pastas tossed with ramps, and all sorts of fun things. So I would like to take this moment to say, if you have not already reached out to your state representative, or frankly, directly to Speaker Pelosi, because homegirls really gotta come through for us, we need to make sure that the independent restaurant industry does get a bailout in this, because I realize that even just preparing for this, I would have never even known exactly what to expect, the magic of all this produce, if I hadn't had the opportunity to have so many wonderful chefs either work alongside me or just that I could visit to get to taste all these great vegetables and really be able to appreciate what they bring to spring. That being said, we're gonna get back to the focus tonight, which is gonna be some spring pairings. So, we've been doing a lot of reds through Italy, and tonight is all about whites. And specifically too, these are all unoaked white wines, because again, we were thinking about what we can pair, and there's some classic grapes, things like Gruner Veltliner are always great in the spring, which is an Austrian grape, but you sometimes see it dance a little bit over into Italy and Germany. And other countries will attempt their hand at it. But we're gonna also be doing tonight a Vernaccia from Italy, from Tuscany, and also an Aligoté from Burgundy. So I do admit, I have been munching on asparagus all day, just making sure these pairings were really spot on. So we're gonna kind of go a little bit from most bitter, I guess you say, up to kind of the fleshiest, which is why we're going to start with the Colombaio di Santa Chiara Vernaccia di San Gimignano 2019. I was excited to taste this because this is the brand new vintage, just landed like 2 weeks ago. We've sold this wine previously. So Vernaccia di San Gimignano is literally the grape Vernaccia from San Gimignano, which is northwest of Siena. It's literally just to the west of the Chianti Classico zone. If you've been to Tuscany, which most people have been to Italy, went to Tuscany, there's a good chance that you actually went to San Gimignano. Interestingly, see that little band around here? Vernaccia di San Gimignano was the first dry white wine to ever receive DOCG status. But it's always been like, it's a pretty dry wine. What's always kind of caught me about it is that it reminds me of olive oil. It reminds me truthfully of the flavor that you get off of olive oil. But this one also, I noted, has a lot of kind of like pear skin, where it's like earthy pear, like if you actually really smelled the pear. And so you get a little fruit, but it's rugged, it's earthy. And then I was getting some white flowers off it, and when I looked at their website, they mentioned lily of the valley, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what it is. Those beautiful little bell flowers. You get this great little light floral note out of this. So this is done in stainless steel and concrete. just aged a few months. They're certified biodynamic and organic, so that's great too, because you know that they farmed well. Now, going with my asparagus, you definitely get a little bit more of this little bitter grip, which honestly you get with a lot of Italian whites. That's why they're so good with food, is because that little subtle bitterness kind of starts your, like, it gets you to salivate a little bit and it keeps you going back for more. So while I don't know if asparagus is the perfect pairing for this, I would love this definitely with some like roasted artichokes. I think it would be great with some morel mushrooms if you can get your hands on some. But just even in general, I would put together a whole big salad with a ton of produce and be perfectly happy having this vernaccia. And if you have been to Tuscany, it's nice because it's kind of like a throwback to your trip. And yeah, I mean, like it's very, very, it's savory for a white. Like it makes you want to eat. So that's good. However, since we've been doing asparagus, since I've been eating asparagus all day, getting ready for this, I gotta say, I'm gonna follow with the classic and really the best pairing. So this is the 2017 Huber Gruner Veltliner, the Obersteigen. They're in the Treisental. I probably just said that wrong. But so the Treisental is kind of a newly recognized, it's finally been given its own DOC or DAC in Austria. It's in what's called Lower Austria, even though that means the northern part of the country. It's more the lower part of the river. A very famous neighbor would be the Wachau, spelled with a W, not a B. And so Gruner Veltliner always has like really, really great floral notes to it, but this has got, God, it's got this great little like salty lemongrass and again, this like pear and soft pastry dough. And the nice thing about Gruners is they have just the slightest sense of just a little bit of like fruit sweetness to them, which when you're eating something bitter, like asparagus, at least raw asparagus, it's a beautiful juxtaposition to the wine. So, again, you get this lovely, lovely salinity here, and there is just this little mellow bit of fruit. There's also a raciness to this. Like, you feel just this slight little thread of effervescence, and I mean, this is super crushable. This is like you're hanging out on your porch, you're making dinner, you're still cooking dinner. It's light, it's bright, it's got this nice racy acidity, but there's nothing aggressive about it. And again, the real Tash, earthy, a little bitter. Yeah, that salty floral fruit just really kind of flips that asparagus on its head. So I would say this is going to be my #1 asparagus pairing. And again, I know it's not all about asparagus, but I think that's the easiest thing to get. And again, even if you can't get to a true farmer's market or you're not part of a CSA, first off, if you're in New York City and other big cities, a lot of the restaurants that aren't using their produce right now have been offering produce packages. We're gonna have some links, but eater.com always has links to restaurants that are doing some of these produce packages. And so far in New York at least, they're doing a little bit more modified service, but all of the farmers markets are open. So if you really want to, you can still get to the farmers market and get some fresh produce. But finally, we're gonna finish things out with a nice little Burgundy Aligoté. This is Guasso. This is their Bourgogne Aligoté. This is a 2018, and I think the biggest difference between this wine and the others, again, we have no oak aging. We have no oak aging on any of these. The Gruner did spend 4 months on the lees, but this guy was aged on the lees. They don't say exactly how long, but you feel it. There is so much more of this like melon. Again, you get that little salinity, but there's more depth, there's more creaminess here. It's got a nice roundness, and better than anything, I mean, these are all, again, we're going economic with these pairings. This guy's 22, The Gruner's 24, but the Aligoté is only 20. And it's got this great, again, like wild, it does native yeast ferment, but it's got this like wild pear and like salty melon thing going on. This is truthfully the one that I would probably roast some morels with, or it would be great with cauliflower too, I feel like, or like doing a pasta that had like was stuffed with pork and maybe in a cream sauce. Again, I miss you chefs. Please come back and give us this food so we can have reasons to drink all these wonderful wines, because we can't cook them at home. But the texture here, whereas with the Gruner I said it was racy, this is oily, it's sleek, it really throws itself around the palate. There's no oak on it, it's all stainless steel, but it's that lees time that gives it a little bit more sleekness, more density. And so that's why with this, I do start thinking about white meat. I start thinking about having some pork. I start thinking about having some chicken. And pork is a great, pork you can do with thyme, you can do with rosemary, you can do so much with it. So really, if I was gonna have some great spring produce and have it with a bit of meat, this is probably the wine I would do. If I was gonna go straight asparagus and artichokes and some of these more bitter things, I'd go Gruner. And the Selva Bianca, the Vernaccia, I think this, I just wanna make myself a giant salad and throw a little meat on there. Could be chicken, could be tofu, could be, who knows, could be some seafood, and it will absolutely work. Or this also is great with some cheese. So anyways, we're gonna be back to Italy next Tuesday. We're gonna be covering Liguria. We'll be doing a Vermentino, and we're also gonna be doing a cool red called Rossese, which I love. And then next Thursday, we are gonna hit rosé hard, because we have so many cool wines rolling in right now, and you don't get to come in the store, so I gotta bring them to you. Anyways, thank you for joining us. Hope everyone's healthy and safe. Call your state legislators. Tell them we need those restaurants back so we can drink good wine and feel happy about it and feel happy about everyone. And we'll see you the next time.